to the opening ceremonies of the 50th anniversary session of the Hague International Model United Nations. My name is Aditya Jain, and I am the President of the General Assembly at this conference. I am honored to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for today's opening session. Sitting in front of me is Ms. Marion Bothner, the Secretary General of THIMUN 2018, and beside her are seated the Deputy Secretary Generals of this conference. In accordance with the tradition of the opening ceremonies at the United Nations, I ask you to please join me for a moment of silence in memory of those who have died of both natural and unnatural causes. Please rise. I am very pleased to share a special message sent to us by Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, which will be read by Mr. Peter Loy, member of the THIMUN Board of Directors. Mr. Loy, you now have the floor.
Message to the Hague International Model United Nations Conference, The Hague, January 2018. Congratulations on the 50th anniversary of the Hague International Model United Nations Foundation, and thank you for your efforts to empower and inspire the world's young people. I appreciate your commitment to our global mission of peace, sustainable development, and human rights. Our world today enjoys remarkable opportunities to advance common progress. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals are our blueprint for dignity, prosperity, and a healthy planet. But we, the peoples, also face many complex challenges. Armed conflicts have deepened. Global anxieties about nuclear weapons are the highest since the Cold War. Climate change is moving faster than we are. Inequality and nationalism are on the rise, while trust and solidarity are on the decline. These problems and challenges are increasingly global and increasingly grave. We need less hatred, more dialogue, and deeper international cooperation. Multilateralism is more important than ever. Empowering the world's young people is also an imperative. We must do more to enable young people to shape the decisions affecting their lives. Your potential is the world's potential. As you stand up for our shared values, the United Nations stands with you. Signed, Antonio Guterres, Secretary General, United Nations.
is now my honor to introduce Mrs. Pauline Krikke, Mayor of the Municipality of The Hague.
Your Majesty, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and most of all, delegates. A very warm welcome to The Hague, city which for the 50th time has the honor of hosting the Hague International Model United Nations. And we are delighted to do so. What once began as a modest undertaking has grown into a big event. In those 5 decades, the world has changed enormously. While in essence the Hague International Model United Nations has remained much the same. The biggest difference compared with the past perhaps is the ease in which today's participants can keep contact with one another, wherever they may be in the world. And that is something that makes you, dear delegates, citizens of the world. Something which I, as mayor of an international city, can only support. Because lately we have been seeing a revival of nationalism, a growing tendency to pull down the shutters and end international cooperation. A way which can only lead to an impasse. Because the challenges facing our world are huge. And it is only by working together that we can solve them. Because for the most part, these are worldwide problems that extend far beyond national territories. Climate change, for example, does not stop at warming. And so we need to join hands. We have no option. Ensuring that everyone can lead a life of dignity, the United Nations has led the way with this type of cooperation for more than 70 years now. Peace, justice and security, the reception of refugees, children's rights, sustainability. None of us in this world would be better off without the United Nations. That also applies to education. This year's theme of the Hague International United Nations. Education is the gateway to self-improvement, towards emancipation. Education creates responsible citizens. People who can contribute ideas for the future of their city, their country, and society. Without education, it would not even be possible to build a civil society. So, delegates, the experience you will gain here over the next few days will be most valuable. You will learn not only how the United Nations works, but also to see things from a different point of view. How to put yourself into someone else's shoes and see through different eyes. I wish you every success in the coming days, and perhaps one day in the future, I will have the opportunity to welcome you to The Hague again. Thank you very much.
Your Majesty, Your Excellencies, esteemed guests, and honorable delegates, welcome to the Mrs. Laughlin and Mr. Meidinger, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Majesty, honoured guests, delegates, chairs, welcome to THIMUN 2018, our 50th MUN conference in The Hague. You'll be hearing a great deal about the 50th anniversary in the next few days, and some of you may recognise your younger selves in photos from the 50th anniversary book Shaping Tomorrow. My first experience of MUN was as a very new and part-time MUN director in January 1997. I was new to the school, new to The Hague, new to MUN. To walk through the door of the conference centre on that first day was a revelation. I simply stood still for 10 minutes, eyes wide open, while young men and women swirled around me. They clearly knew where they were going. I didn't have a clue. But I very quickly, in that week, learned to respect the knowledge and the learning and the commitment of those young people. I've not forgotten that feeling of awe. And I have to confess, it was a moment that changed my life. And here I am, 23 Hague conferences later, still awed, still impressed as I am every year by the talents of this new generation. THIMUN in The Hague has changed, as some of our guests who were here a while back will have noticed. Technology has changed. The first resolutions were handwritten. Rooms have a new name identity. Some committees are new. Many of the issues have also changed in response to the concerns of the world, though sadly some haven't. But the philosophy of THIMUN remains the same: to educate, to understand the why and the how of the United Nations, to learn about diplomacy and consensus, to walk in someone else's shoes and understand something of their lives. THIMUN is very grateful for the good wishes from the Secretary-General of the United Nations and his words about the opportunities as well as the challenges in focusing in the world. Earlier this month, he answered questions from a group of students at the Peace Palace just down the road from here. He studied physics in his youth, but at the same time worked for an NGO in the poorer parts of Portugal. He later became Prime Minister of that country, but when he stepped down, he went back to teaching maths to migrants living in his town, enabling them to gain jobs or to continue their studies. And he said two things which particularly struck me and which seem relevant to what we do here today. They may seem opposites, but they are closely linked. First, you are representatives of an international community, he said. And what you choose to do in your future will always reflect that. And this applies very much to the delegates here in this hall. You are a perfect model of an international community. And in many and subtle ways, that will affect your futures. But he also said that if you don't reflect on problems in your own time, in your own world, your own community, you will never be able to solve the world's greater problems or fulfill your great ideals. You will hear this week from more people who are doing just that, who have looked both inward and outward to a wider world to achieve their aims, who have chosen in practical ways, as well as through debate and diplomacy, a path to fulfill those ideals, the things that have changed their own and others' lives. THIMUN is tremendously proud of what has been achieved over those years. 4 conferences, The Hague, Singapore, Qatar, Montevideo, worldwide, a blossoming number of affiliated conferences in new countries and different languages, and for that we owe our thanks to a huge number of people who have become part of the THIMUN family.
Mr. President of the General Assembly. As you heard, THIMUN has grown dramatically since its foundation. This week, at the World Forum The Hague, according to our database, you are 2,938 admin staff, delegate, press members, and student officers. You are accompanied by 303 MUN directors. You represent 186 schools and 107 nationalities. Every year, we have new schools joining the MUN program. This year, the new schools are coming from Afghanistan, Australia, DR Congo, Malaysia, Oman, Qatar, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. It is you, dear students, in your rich diversity, who make THIMUN an international conference in the true sense of the word. Indeed, THIMUN, as you heard by my dear co-chair, has expanded from one conference to 4. Furthermore, THIMUN organizes a leadership conference in Doha, Qatar, organizes a photo exhibition here in The Hague, develops workshops for students and MUN directors alike in all different countries, has signed a joint venture with Online MUN, sponsors schools such as a group of Afghan students from the association HELA, Hope for Education and Leadership in Afghanistan, to go to Doha and again here to The Hague. If I may quote again a fellow colleague from Doha, all these projects, all these activities are like little seeds planted in different parts of the world. Thanks to a lot of dedicated people, these seeds have seen growing and growing. That is why I would like now to thank, on behalf of my coach and myself, these people who have been involved with THIMUN. I'm not going to give you names, but I'm going to give you positions. I'm too afraid to forget someone. My co-chair and I would like to thank, first, all past and present board members of the THIMUN Foundation, all past and present staff members of the THIMUN office here in The Hague, in Singapore, Doha, and Montevideo, the backbone of our conferences. All past and present members and emeritus members of the advisory board who have helped us in the preparations of our conferences. All past and present secretaries, deputy secretary generals, and student officers who have written excellent reports and chaired committees and commissions. All past and present voluntary workers and hosting families who have given their time, opened their homes to welcome students. All past and present MUN directors and heads of schools who not only have brought delegates but also have prepared them for these different conferences. All past and present keynote speakers who set the tone of our United Nations simulations. All our 54 affiliated conferences which spread the MUN program all over the world. The World Forum, previously Congressgebouw, and the City of The Hague for sponsoring, housing, and welcoming THIMUN during all these years. All the members of the Corps Diplomatique for their presence each year at our opening ceremonies. The Dutch and Catholic royal families for their participation in and patronage of THIMUN The Hague and THIMUN Qatar. Finally, I would like to thank one last person, one name, Paul Sand, founding father of The Hague International Model United Nations, without whom we would not be celebrating the 50th anniversary today. Thank you, Paul. Here and our thank yous. My co-chair and I yield the floor
of the Hague International Model United Nations. His Majesty King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands has kindly agreed to officially open this special session. We will also be presenting him with the first copy of the commemorative book, which looks back at 50 years of THIMUN, published for this special occasion. Your Majesty, may I invite you to please join me on stage.
Mr. President, it is my honor and pleasure to hereby officially open the 50th annual session of the Hague International Model United Nations.
Announcements to make. All members of the Corps Diplomatique and special invited guests are kindly invited to come to the stage in a few moments for a reception. All delegates are kindly requested to remain in their seats until our guests have reached the stage. I would like to thank you all for having attended the official opening ceremonies, and I wish all delegates an inspiring THIMUN week. This concludes the opening ceremonies. Thank you.
Mr. President, Secretariat, student officers, honorable directors, and delegates. How often have you been told that you are one of the leaders of tomorrow? It's a phrase I've heard many times at THIMUN, and the sentiment makes it seem as though becoming a leader is something we can and should expect, as if we are destined to lead almost by default. Really though, THIMUN exists not to cater to leaders, but to create them. Because in truth, nothing about leadership is easy. Its absence is the barrier between us and a thriving, purposeful civil society. Splashed across the news headlines, you can see one crisis in leadership after another. Survey after survey shows that people believe that the world is without good leadership. We should realize that leadership does not manifest from thin air. It is trying and demanding. Not all will rise to the occasion. So how exactly can MUN rouse in us the qualities that make a good leader? And what is a true leader? For us, to be a leader is not to be the most important or the most powerful. I believe a leader's strength lies in their ability to serve. Here at THIMUN, the delegate who leads, who crafts and passes a resolution is often not the brashest or the loudest, but the delegate who considers the needs of the smallest of countries. For a chair, to lead a committee is not to exert your own power, but to service the delegates, to inspire discussion and synergy. And the same will be true, I believe, in your personal lives outside of MUN. As we heard from Matthew and Zamin yesterday, the medical students who help provide prosthetics in Bangladesh, if you are to be a leader, you will serve others with passion and dedication, which will often go unnoticed and unthanked. Leadership is also not a job, but a way of thought and life. A leader has vision and leads by example. Your resolutions here at THIMUN and the ones produced by the UN itself are not meant to police, but to lead, by inspiring others to take the same action. At THIMUN, we talk about and promote a sustainable future not because we are naive, but because we know that commitment to a better tomorrow and hope itself are infectious. We can only become leaders of the future if we take steps now to safeguard that future. As Princess Mabel mentioned yesterday, it requires only a few people doing the right thing, standing up to their lawmakers, saying no to injustice, for the course of history to change. That is the kind of leadership THIMUN aims to stoke in us. As Secretary General at THIMUN 50, my final conference, I am very aware that I have been appointed a leader among leaders. I would like to thank the entire student officer team, the student officers and the Secretariat General, who become not just my teammates, but my friends, for their service, thoughtfulness, and zeal. And to everyone here, I would like to remind you that it will never be your title that makes you a leader. It's your integrity, vision, and support of one another, all of which I have witnessed in you over the past week. After THIMUN ends today, you can continue to lead the building of civil society, uphold these principles, and encourage them in others. Because we, the so-called leaders of tomorrow, are in fact needed today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Honorable delegates, esteemed student officers, distinguished guests, and immune directors, valued admins, and fellow members of the Secretariat General. It has been an utmost honor and a privilege to witness thousands of young individuals working in unity these past 5 days, collaborating effectively, not to search for, not to find, but rather to construct and develop solutions to problems that face our society. With issues related to disarmament, borders, gender inequality, education, poverty, and many, many more. For instance, the General Assemblies have discussed and debated over 65 resolutions in the last 5 days. Quite an impressive statistic. As we're nearing the end of THIMUN 2018, let's stop and reflect on the journey. What is the one thing that we all have experienced and we all have done while discussing these issues? The answer lies in two simple yet powerful words: peaceful diplomacy. Peaceful diplomacy is the key to achieving prosperity for all nations, regardless of their geopolitical or economic situation. Peaceful diplomacy has the power to resolve even the most dangerous issues we face today and will face in the future. This raises another question. What is the backbone of this peaceful diplomacy? How do we achieve this? The backbone of peaceful diplomacy is your voice. All of us sitting here in this auditorium have a voice that can be heard. And it is our duty to use that voice in conferences, on a platform such as THIMUN, or perhaps even in the future in the real United Nations. So today, I appeal to you to use your voice as a powerful tool to speak for the billions of people who do not have this privilege. And together, step by step, I'm sure we can truly make this world more peaceful and prosperous place for all. And that is what I hope you take away from THIMUN. Personal note, sadly this THIMUN will be my last THIMUN conference after nearly 6 years in this field. On behalf of the Secretariat, I'd like to thank you, all the delegates, from the bottom of my heart, for giving this conference life. Without you, there would be no THIMUN. So thank you for your dedication all throughout the conference, and wish you luck in your future endeavors. I shall leave you today with a quote by Malala Yousafzai that links back to my point about peaceful diplomacy and the strength of your voice. It goes, when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. So use your voice wisely to make the voiceless stronger than ever. With that inspirational thought in mind, I'd now like to invite all members of the Secretariat General to join me here in order to officially close THIMUN 2018. I hereby declare the 50th anniversary session of the Hague International Model United Nations officially closed.
I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and make you happy. If you would wholly say the same. But if you leave me and love another, you'll regret it all someday. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine away. I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and make you happy. If you would wholly say the same.